Welcome to the 5-Minute Prime Podcast. Quick, actionable tips to master personal finance and real estate investing. In just 5 minutes a day, we'll help you build wealth and achieve financial freedom.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the 5-Minute Prime Podcast. I'm your host, Martin Maxwell. Today, we're tackling a question that's been making waves in the real estate world. Is selling your house off MLS, those secret deals, the private listings that never hit the open market, is that actually a better way to go? It sounds enticing, doesn't it? The promise of a quick, discreet sale, maybe avoiding the hassle of open houses and showings, but does easier necessarily translate to better, especially when we're talking about what's likely your biggest asset? We're going to dive deep into the data, and let me tell you, there are billions of dollars at stake here, so this is worth exploring. Now, let's start by understanding the appeal of off-MLS listings. Why would a seller choose to bypass that massive public listing database that realtors use? There are a few key motivations. For one, privacy reasons. This is a significant factor, particularly for high-profile sellers, celebrities, or even just individuals who prefer to keep their personal business private. They don't want their neighbors or the entire internet knowing their home is for sale. 2, control. Some sellers like the feeling of having more control over the process. They might want to handpick potential buyers, negotiate directly, and avoid the perceived chaos of a public listing. 3, speed or the illusion of speed. This is where it gets tricky. In some cases, particularly with cash offers, an off-MLS deal can close very quickly. We're talking as little as 10 days, according to a recent HomeLight article. That speed can be incredibly appealing if you're facing a situation like a job relocation or a financial emergency. 4, agent incentives. Let's be frank. Some agents might push for off-MLS deals because they have the potential to double-end the commission, representing both the buyer and the seller. So on the surface, off-MLS seems like this exclusive, almost VIP way to sell your home, but does that exclusivity translate to a better financial outcome for the seller? Let's put those claims to the test next. Here's where we separate perception from reality. We're going to examine data from multiple reputable sources, and the story they tell is remarkably consistent. Let's start with a bombshell from Zillow, released in late 2024. They found that sellers who skipped the MLS from 2023 to 2024 collectively lost out on over $1 billion in potential profit. That's not a typo, $1 billion. How is that even possible? Because on average, homes sold off MLS went for $4,900 less than comparable homes listed on the MLS. That's a 2% price reduction simply for not being listed publicly. And they took longer to sell. 24 days on average, compared to just 17 days for MLS listings. And this wasn't some localized trend. Zillow's data showed that in 49 out of the 50 largest U.S. metro areas, MLS listings achieved higher sale prices. We're talking significant differences, almost 6% higher in Las Vegas, over 5% higher in Miami. That's real money, enough to make a substantial difference in your next investment, your retirement fund, or your overall financial well-being. But it's not just Zillow saying this. HomeLight, citing a January 2025 report from the National Association of Realtors, NAR, found that in 2024, homes listed on the MLS sold for a median of 2.1% more. That's an extra $6,200 on average compared to off-MLS transactions. Even with a slight increase in off-MLS sales, the MLS maintained its clear financial advantage. Let's look at some regional data. Bright MLS, a major MLS provider, reported in May of 2024 that in their region, MLS listings sold for a staggering 17.5% more. That's an average of nearly $54,000 in 2022. And if we go back to 2021, during the peak of the pandemic real estate boom, RS Media reported that MLS listings sold for almost 20% more and sold 3 times faster than off-MLS listings. So the data is overwhelming and consistent across different sources and time periods. But why? What's the underlying mechanism that gives the MLS such a consistent edge? The answer, in a word, is exposure. The multiple listing service is, at its core, a massive marketing engine for your property. It's where all the real estate agents and increasingly buyers themselves go to find homes. Think of it like this. Let's say you're selling a classic mint condition comic book. Would you get a better price showing it to a few collectors you know personally, or listing it on a platform like eBay where thousands of potential buyers worldwide could see it and compete for it? The MLS is the eBay of real estate. It creates competition. When multiple buyers are interested in the same property, they're more likely to submit competitive offers, driving up the price. That's not magic, it's basic supply and demand. As Zillow's CEO, Jeremy Waxman, stated, selling off MLS often leaves money on the table precisely because it limits the number of potential buyers who even see the property. Fewer eyeballs, fewer offers, less competition, and ultimately a lower sale price. This aligns perfectly with the findings of Bright MLS and Ars Media, which consistently highlight the benefits of broad market exposure. Okay, so the MLS is generally the better route for maximizing profit and selling quickly, but are there any circumstances where off-MLS might be a justifiable choice? Yes, there are specific situations where an off-MLS sale might make sense, but it's crucial to understand that these are the exceptions, not the rule. For example, as we mentioned earlier, for extreme privacy needs, we're talking about truly high-profile individuals, celebrities, public figures, or people who, for very specific reasons, need to keep their sale completely confidential. Even in these cases, it's often at a financial cost. A study in San Francisco mentioned in a 2021 blog post by Ruth Krishnan found that off-MLS homes sold for significantly less, but for some sellers, that absolute privacy was worth the price difference. Another exception here is due to distressed sales or urgent need for cash. If a seller is facing foreclosure, needs to relocate immediately for a job, or is in another situation requiring a very fast sale, an off-MLS cash offer might be a viable option. They might be willing to accept a lower price in exchange for speed and certainty. Or scenario number 3, say if you're targeting a specific buyer. But, and this is a big but, even in these niche scenarios, you're almost always sacrificing potential profit. And it's worth noting that the vast majority of home sales still happen on the MLS. So let's bring it all back to the central question. Is an off-MLS deal a better path to sell your house? For the overwhelming majority of sellers, the answer, based on the data, is a clear and resounding no. Remember that $1 billion lost by off-MLS sellers? That's the collective cost of choosing limited exposure over potentially higher profits. Okay, your challenge for today. If you're even thinking about selling your home in the future, start researching your local market. Look at comparable sales on the MLS. Get a sense of what homes like yours are actually selling for. And if an agent suggests an off-MLS sale, ask tough questions. Ask for data. Ask about their marketing plan. And don't be afraid to get a second opinion. And as always, if you found this episode helpful, please subscribe to the 5-Minute Prime podcast. Share it with anyone who's considering selling their home, and leave us a review. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep making informed decisions.